What makes Amston different from other moving companies?
Well, we're not just movers. We do everything from the downsizing, the packing, the helping with selling their items. We're more than just a moving company. We're a complete service, one-stop shop. We do basically everything A to Z, right?
Pretty much. And it's like going to the grocery store and you go to BJ's, you get everything in one stop, you get it with us.
So what services do you offer?
So we offer decluttering, downsizing, packing. We do help with estate sales and consignment, and we also will help with home repairs and modifications outside of just moves. And basically the biggest thing we sell is stress relief.
Okay. Can you describe what the process looks like from start to finish?
So the first thing we do is we'll come out to your house for free. We'll do an assessment. We want to make sure that we're going to be able to get you from that point where you are in your home right now, because most people have been living in their house for about 40 years sometimes, if not longer. So we try to go through their items, go through their home, determine what they're going to be bringing, and help them kind of start to sort out that stuff on the first visit, and we come up with a plan for them. So then at that point, if they're happy with the plan, we'll get started working with them, and we'll start to just basically downsize them, start packing their items, start getting things to a certain point. If they need to sell their home, that's where we'll come in and we'll kind of do an assessment of the home itself, check for any kind of repairs, like some of the common stuff you see.
Yeah, if I see the mother or the father, you can see the stress level when we actually start the move. I try to keep the guys moving, but also kind of focus on them, trying to take the stress level off. And that usually helps, even playing some old music, trying to make a little joke after a while, but that usually calms them down and shows them the process and how the guys are starting to move, and the parents, even the kids are seeing how the process is going, really cuts down the stress for them. So it helps to keep that flow going and keep the stress level down, because that's the number one problem, is the stress.
So it's definitely all about lowering the stress for these.
Yes. Yeah, we take over that and they don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, them and their families. Yeah. Super stressed usually when we come in. Because anytime you have to go through a change like that, whether it's just, even if it's in-house with a modification, it's like someone that's going through that's losing their independence, and it becomes a scary situation for them, and the family is stressed as well, especially if they're not nearby them, then it's even worse. So we try to make that a much better process for everybody, take the stress out, totally relieve everybody from that whole situation.
How do you communicate with clients throughout the process?
So we basically will work with them from the beginning. We establish communication with our offices and everything else with the client. We make sure throughout we're always checking on the client. Our team leads and everybody involved is always making sure that the client's okay. So if we see something off with them, and we just stay in communication at all times. Before the move, we'll check in with them to make sure everything is ready. Sometimes we'll go in the day before if there's a pre-pack, or even if things aren't packed yet, we just want to make sure they're ready to go, prepared for the move. And then move day, we're always checking on them. And then after they've moved in, we will send somebody out to check on them as well, just to follow up with them, make sure that they're good, that everything is happy, everything is set up the way they wanted it, that they're enjoying where they are, just to stay in touch.
How do you deal with somebody who has a hard time letting go of their stuff?
Well, there's a couple ways to go about it. We have to understand that people have had their stuff for a long time in a lot of cases, and maybe in situations they've accumulated a lot of things. And going through that can be a pretty stressful process, not just for them, but for the family too, especially if they need to move, or it gets to a point where they're just dealing with conditions. They get older, it's hard to get around, it's not safe anymore. So we try to mention this is a safety issue in some cases. If things have just gotten so cluttered in the home, and even if it's things that are sentimental, you have to kind of parse through that with them, one thing at a time. And Jeff will attest, right?
You usually start with the easiest to let go, and then we'll do the second phase, and then the third phase.
So you break it up for them.
Break it up so I kind of just see where the stress level is, which they really like, and I stay away from that, and just focus on things that they can really part with. And I said, let's just focus on the easy stuff, and then we go to phase 2, phase 3. So,
okay.
Yeah, we'll have somebody come, especially if it's a decluttering situation. We'll let them set up a table for them, make it easy for them. We won't take a lot of their time, so we try to make sure we keep it within a few hours at a time, because we know it gets tiring, stressed. So when they're dealing with certain things, we'll start with the easy things, but we'll bring things out to them. We'll sit them at a table, set up a chair, have one of our staff bring out things, work through that item and make sure that, hey, do you want to keep this? Do you want to get rid of it? And just kind of work through it. And if they have a hard time, then we have to, take the next steps.